Finally, the Council did not introduce itself. It did not negotiate. It did not posture, threaten, or posture like the fragile empires humanity had known before. It simply took control of the sky. At 9:12 Universal Time Coordinated, every electronic device on Earth stopped obeying humanity. Air traffic control screens froze mid-flight path. Surgeons found their tools unresponsive. Military targeting systems went blind. Even hardened, air-gapped nuclear command centers watched their sealed monitors flicker to life with signals they had never received and never permitted. Then the stars disappeared. Not all of them. Just enough. Something unfolded above Earth, so vast it did not move through space so much as space moved around it. Its surface wasn't metal. It wasn't matter, not in any way human science understood. It looked like geometry given hunger. Angles folded into angles, infinite layers of impossible structure stacked inside each other like a predator's teeth. A construct. A weapon. A judge. Every human being heard the voice at the same time. Not through speakers. Through nerves. Through marrow. Through the oldest, most animal part of the brain. Species designation, humanity. People collapsed. Some screamed. Others froze, unable to breathe. You have been observed. The voice had no emotion. No anger. No hatred. That made it worse. You have been measured. In Colorado Springs, hardened NORAD veterans stared helplessly at dead control panels. In submarines beneath the Arctic ice, seasoned captains whispered prayers they hadn't used since childhood. In nursing homes, children's hospitals, prisons, brothels, churches, and war zones, the same voice continued. You have been found unfit. A pause. Just long enough for hope to form. Then it died. The Council hereby declares war. Panic erupted across Earth. Stock markets collapsed in seconds. Fighter jets scrambled without orders. World leaders screamed into dead communication lines. Humanity had spent a century preparing for first contact. None of those preparations mattered. Because none of them had prepared for judgment. In a quiet oncology ward in Helena, Montana, Evelyn Carter watched the sky through a cracked hospital window. She was dying. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer. The kind that didn't bargain. The kind that didn't care who you used to be. Her body was thin, fragile. Her hands trembled from weakness. But her eyes were sharp. The nurse beside her was crying openly. Oh God, they're going to kill us. Evelyn didn't cry. She didn't pray. She laughed. It wasn't loud. It wasn't hysterical. It was tired. Relieved. Well, Evelyn said softly, they finally found us. The nurse stared at her. Found us? Evelyn didn't answer. She just kept looking at the sky. The Council's first strike lasted less than 1 second. A beam emerged from the construct above Earth. It wasn't light. It wasn't energy. It was absence made visible. It touched the Pacific Ocean. And erased it. Not all of it. Just enough. A perfect circular section of ocean, nearly 200 kilometers wide, vanished. No explosion. No steam. No displaced water. It simply ceased to exist. Satellites confirmed it instantly. A hole in the ocean. Every submarine inside it was gone. Every crew. Every weapon. Every secret humanity had buried in its depths. Gone. Demonstration complete. The message was clear. Resistance was irrelevant. Still, humanity resisted. Because humanity always resisted. Missiles launched from Russia, the United States, China, France, India, Pakistan. Nuclear fire screamed upward, humanity's most terrible invention aimed at the alien sky. For a moment, it felt like defiance. Like dignity. Like survival. Then the missiles stopped. Not destroyed. Not intercepted. Stopped. Frozen in the air, suspended like toys. The Council voice returned. Primitive response confirmed. The missiles turned around. And fell. Washington vanished first. Then Beijing. Then Moscow. Then New Delhi. Then Paris. 5 nuclear capitals erased in under 10 seconds. Governments decapitated. Command structures destroyed. Humanity blinded. Humanity crippled. Humanity beaten. Evelyn Carter pulled the 4 from her arm. The nurse gasped. "What are you doing?" Evelyn stood slowly. Pain surged through her body like broken glass. She ignored it. "I don't have time for this anymore," Evelyn said. "You're dying," the nurse cried. Evelyn smiled faintly. "No," she said. Her eyes never left the sky. "I'm not. Not anymore." Because she could feel it. The signal. Not from the council. From somewhere else. Somewhere older. Waiting. The helicopter arrived in under 12 minutes. No hospital clearance. No civilian authority. Just black metal and soldiers who did not ask permission. They came straight to her room. One of them froze when he saw her. He removed his helmet. He was young. 30 maybe. But his eyes carried recognition. "Ma'am." Evelyn nodded. "Captain?" He swallowed. "We weren't sure you'd still be alive." She smirked. "Neither was I." He hesitated. "They're asking for confirmation." Evelyn stepped past him. "They'll have it." In orbit, the Council watched humanity collapse exactly as predicted. Command centers destroyed. Chain of command severed. Psychological breakdown spreading rapidly. Compliance probability, 99.992%. Extermination timetable proceeding efficiently. Then something unexpected happened. A signal. Weak. Primitive. Analog. Origin Earth's surface. Location, classified human military installation. Content, 2 words. Finally ready. The Council paused. It had not paused in 12 million years. Predictive models recalculated. Anomaly detected. The helicopter descended into the Nevada desert. A facility waited there. Buried. Forgotten. Or so the world believed. Massive blast doors opened slowly, groaning with age. Dust fell like snow. Inside, lights flickered on for the first time in decades. Evelyn stepped out onto the concrete. She breathed in deeply. She remembered this place. She remembered the screams. She remembered the fire. The captain walked beside her. His voice was quiet. "Do you think it will still work?" Evelyn didn't hesitate. It never stopped. They entered the chamber. At its center was a chair. Not large. Not impressive. Just old. Connected to machines that predated modern computing. Machines that did not rely on digital systems. Machines the Council could not see. Evelyn stopped in front of it. Her hands trembled. Not from fear. From anticipation. The captain spoke carefully. "Ma'am, are you certain?" She looked at him. Really looked at him. At the fear he tried to hide. At the desperate hope he barely allowed himself. "I remember everything," she said. And for the first time, the captain understood something he had never been told. Evelyn Carter was not just a survivor. She was a witness. She sat down in the chair. The machines came alive instantly. They recognized her. They had been waiting. Above Earth, the Council construct shifted. It detected the activation. It could not understand it. It could not control it. For the first time in its existence, the Council encountered something familiar. Something it had seen once before. Long ago. On a different world. A different war. A different species. A species that was supposed to be extinct. The Council voice spoke again, but now there was something new inside it. Uncertainty. "Identify yourself." Evelyn smiled. Her voice was calm. Cold. Certain. "Hello again," she said. Silence followed. Heavy. Impossible. And then Evelyn Carter said the words she had waited 72 years to say. "Finally. The things we buried. The council did not feel fear. Fear was inefficient. Fear was a chemical flaw of biological minds that lacked sufficient processing clarity. But the council did feel something else. Interruption. Its extermination schedule paused at 3.12%. A microscopic deviation. Yet deviation nonetheless. Below, on the surface of Earth, the signal continued transmitting from the Nevada desert, broadcasting in primitive analog patterns buried beneath electromagnetic noise like a whisper beneath thunder. The council isolated it, analyzed it, failed to understand it. That failure had not occurred in 9 million years. Source designation, the council demanded, its voice rippling through every human nervous system again. Identify yourself. In the underground chamber, Evelyn Carter smiled faintly at the ceiling. She spoke aloud, knowing it would hear her. You first. The captain beside her stiffened. Ma'am. She raised a weak hand, silencing him. Above them, the alien construct shifted. The sky itself bent slightly inward, like a predator focusing both eyes. You are human, the council said. Evelyn laughed softly. Yes, she said. I am now. The machines around her hummed louder. Dust fell from pipes that hadn't vibrated in half a century. Deep beneath layers of classified steel and concrete, systems older than modern civilization came alive. The captain stared at a monitor displaying waveforms he couldn't understand. Ma'am, what is this? Evelyn didn't answer immediately. She was remembering. Not with her mind. With everything else. Pain. Fire. Gravity tearing itself apart. Screams that did not use air. They never told you, she said finally. They buried it. She leaned back into the ancient chair, her fragile body trembling as needles extended from the headrest and gently pressed into her skull. The captain reached forward instinctively. Wait! She grabbed his wrist. Her grip was impossibly strong. Don't, she said calmly. Her eyes locked onto his. You wanted a weapon? A pause. This is one. The year was 1962. The Cold War had humanity convinced the sky would kill them. They were wrong. The sky was just watching. It happened in Siberia. A mining town vanished. Not destroyed. Removed. The Soviets sent soldiers. None returned. Then the Americans sent spies. One came back. Her name was Evelyn Carter. She was 22 years old. She had no memory of what happened. At least, none she could explain. She was found wandering naked in the snow, 300 kilometers from the disappearance site. No frostbite. No hypothermia. No injuries. But she was different. Inside her skull was something that didn't belong. The Americans never told the public. They built a facility in Nevada. They built a chair. And they asked her questions. At first, she didn't know the answers. Then the dreams began. Star maps she had never learned. Mathematics no human had invented. War. Ancient war. Not humanity's war. Their war. The Council's war. They came before. Evelyn whispered in the present. The captain stared at her. What? The Council, she said. Her voice trembled now, not with weakness, but with memory forcing its way through fragile human biology. They came to my world. The captain's blood ran cold. Your world? She nodded. Yes. On the monitor, brain activity spiked violently. Patterns that should have been impossible erupted across the screen. Neural activity exceeding human limits by orders of magnitude. The machine struggled to keep up. The captain stepped back. What are you? Evelyn smiled faintly. I lost, she said simply. Above Earth, the council froze. Because it understood now. Not fully. Not completely. But enough. It recognized the signal pattern embedded in Evelyn's neural activity. A signature. Ancient. Hated. Nearly forgotten. Impossible, the council said. And for the first time since its arrival. The words sounded uncertain. The second strike began immediately. The Council construct opened. Not physically. Dimensionally. Space folded inward, revealing something behind it. Ships emerged. Thousands of them. Each one larger than Earth's largest cities. Each one alive with weapons capable of sterilizing continents. Humanity watched its extinction arrive in real time. Cities erupted into chaos. Religions collapsed. Governments ceased functioning entirely. There would be no victory. No survival. Only delay. In Nevada, Evelyn Carter began to remember everything. Her body convulsed violently as the interface forced open doors her human brain had kept sealed for 72 years. The captain watched helplessly. Blood ran from her nose. Her voice was no longer entirely human. "They hunted us," she said, her tone layered with echoes. "Across systems. Across centuries." The machines translated her neural output into signals. Broadcast signals. Signals aimed directly at the Council. "You killed my people." Above Earth, the Council ships stopped. Just for a fraction of a second. But they stopped. Because they understood the language now. Not human language. Their language. One of the Council's subordinate species transmitted urgently. "Primary, that signal, it matches archived extinction event Theta 7. Silence followed. Then the Council answered. "Species Theta 7 was terminated." Below, Evelyn's eyes opened. They were no longer entirely human. "Incorrect," she said. The desert trembled. The captain grabbed a railing as the entire facility shook. "What's happening?" Evelyn's voice was calm. "I'm waking up." The Council fired. Not a demonstration this time. Annihilation. Beams lanced down toward the Nevada desert. Toward Evelyn. Toward the signal. Toward the threat. The captain closed his eyes. He never saw the beam hit. Because it didn't. It stopped. 30 meters above the ground. Frozen. Held. Not by human technology. By something else. Something the Council had not seen in millions of years. Above Earth, alarms rippled through alien consciousness. Weapon failure. Interference detected. Source, surface entity. In Nevada, Evelyn Carter stood. The needles tore free from her skull. Blood soaked her hospital gown. But she stood straight. Strong. Whole. Her voice echoed, not in air, but in the structure of reality itself. "You should have stayed gone," she said. Above, one of the Council warships collapsed inward. Not exploded. Collapsed. Crushed by invisible force. Erased. The other ships recoiled. For the first time in their existence. The Council was under attack. And the attack was coming from a dying human woman in the Nevada desert. The captain stared at her in horror and awe. "What did we do?" Evelyn looked at the sky. Her expression held no mercy. "You gave me away back." Another Council ship folded in half like paper. Screams filled alien networks. Panic spread. Impossible panic. Because extinction was not supposed to happen to them. Not ever again. Evelyn Carter took a step forward. And declared war. "No," she said softly. "It's your turn." What the Council forgot. The Council had erased 10,000 civilizations. It had sterilized galaxies still young with life. It had consumed species so advanced they could sculpt stars like clay. None of them had ever fought back like this. Above Earth, one of the Council warships died screaming. Not with sound, but with structure. Its perfect geometry warped, bent inward, and crushed itself into a point smaller than an atom. Space snapped shut around it like a clenched fist. Gone. Not destroyed. Removed. Every other Council vessel recoiled instantly, their formations fracturing in something dangerously close to panic. "Primary," one of the lesser species transmitted through the shared consciousness, its thoughts sharp with alarm. "We are under direct structural attack." The Council did not respond immediately. It was searching its oldest archives. Searching for a ghost. And it found one. Designation Theta 7. Status: exterminated. Threat classification: absolute. Recommendation: erasure before technological maturity. The Council had followed that recommendation. It had burned their worlds, collapsed their stars, extinguished their species down to the last molecular echo. Or so it believed. Below, in the Nevada desert, Evelyn Carter stood barefoot on cold concrete, her hospital gown soaked in blood that no longer seemed entirely necessary. Her spine straightened further. Her breathing slowed. The frailty of age peeled away like a costume she no longer needed. The captain watched her, unable to speak. She turned to him gently. "You should leave," she said. He shook his head reflexively. "Ma'am, you will die if you stay." It wasn't a threat. It was certainty. He hesitated only a second. "Are we winning?" Evelyn looked up at the sky, where alien gods hesitated. "No," she said honestly. Then she smiled. "But they're losing." The Council adapted. It always adapted. Thousands of warships repositioned instantly, spreading across Earth's orbital plane. They began generating interference fields, layers of dimensional armor designed to isolate and contain structural manipulation. They had learned from Theta 7 before. They would not make the same mistake twice. "Containment protocol initiated," the Council declared. Above Nevada, space hardened. Reality thickened. A prison formed around Evelyn Carter, invisible and absolute. The captain stumbled backward as pressure filled the air, crushing his lungs. "What is this?" Evelyn felt it too. She closed her eyes. She remembered this weapon. They had used it on her people once. A cage built from the laws of physics themselves. Elegant. Cruel. Effective. "You learned," she whispered. Above, the Council answered coldly. "You were eradicated." Evelyn smiled. "You're right," she said softly. "I was." Her eyes opened. And for a moment, they burned with starlight. "But humans are very good at surviving extinction." She raised her hand. The containment field trembled. Not broken, but strained. The Council reacted instantly. "Increase containment output." Energy surged. Space screamed. The desert floor cracked open for miles. Mountains in the distance collapsed under pressure. Las Vegas lost power as grids overloaded and died. Still, Evelyn stood. Still, she pushed. Her human body began to fail under the strain. Skin split along her arms. Blood ran freely now. The captain screamed from the ground, bones fracturing under invisible weight. "Stop!" he choked. Evelyn heard him. And hesitated. That hesitation saved her. A Council weapon fired from orbit, a thin, precise filament of compressed spacetime designed to sever her at the quantum level. It struck her chest. For a moment, nothing happened. Then Evelyn Carter died. She collapsed instantly. Her heart stopped. Her brain went silent. The containment field stabilized. The Council paused. Threat eliminated. "Confirm termination," the Council ordered. Sensors focused on her body. No neural activity. No structural anomalies. Just a dead human. Silence spread through the alien fleet. Victory. Absolute. Certain. Then her eyes opened. The Council froze. Because her eyes were wrong. They were not human eyes anymore. They were windows. Behind them, something vast moved. Something old. Something furious. Evelyn's mouth opened. But the voice that emerged was not limited by lungs. It came from everywhere. "You made the same mistake," she said. Around Earth, every Council ship shuddered. "You assumed," the voice continued, "that this body was me." The corpse on the desert floor began to rise. Bones reset with wet, cracking sounds. Flesh rewove itself. Gravity bent inward toward her like a bow. The captain stared in absolute horror. "Jesus Christ!" Evelyn turned to him gently. "No," she said. "Something much older." The truth flooded back into her completely now. She remembered her real name. It was not Evelyn Carter. That had been a mask. A useful one. She had been a weapon once. A living engine designed to defend her species against exactly this enemy. When the council came, her people had lost. Not because they were weak, but because they were few. She had been their last act of defiance. A seed fired blindly into space before their extinction. She had landed on Earth. Broken. Dormant. Human. She had grown old here. Lived here. Loved here. Forgotten what she was. Until the council returned. And reminded her. Above, the council transmitted urgently. This world is designated for erasure. Evelyn, no, the thing that had been Evelyn, tilted her head. You already tried that once, she said. And now you're afraid. The council did not answer. Because it was. Its predictive models were failing. This outcome had not been possible. Not supposed to be possible. She raised her hand again. This time, she did not push against the containment field. She stepped through it. Reality parted around her like water. The council's greatest prison became meaningless. For the first time in its endless existence, the council experienced something it had inflicted on countless others. Helplessness. One of its warships fired everything it had. It never finished the shot. The ship inverted, turned inside out, and vanished. Another followed. And another. Panic spread fully now. Retreat signals began forming. The council had not retreated in 3 million years. But it was considering it now. Below, Evelyn looked up at them, not with hatred. With judgment. You came here to finish a war, she said. Her voice softened slightly. So did I. She took a step upward. And gravity obeyed. She began to rise into the sky. Toward the fleet. Toward the architects of her extinction. Toward the end. Behind her, the captain lay broken on the desert floor, watching humanity's oldest nightmare become its only salvation. And he realized something terrifying. This was not humanity winning. This was humanity unleashing something worse than losing. Something the universe itself had once tried to bury. And above Earth, the council finally understood the truth. They had not declared war on humanity. They had declared war on the last survivor of a species that had nothing left to lose. And that species had just remembered how to fight. Finally, humanity. The sky over Nevada split like a wound. Evolution, what humanity had called Evelyn Carter, rose, her body no longer constrained by frailty, by age, or even by the laws that govern mortal flesh. Energy arced across her form, bending the horizon, warping the air, reshaping the landscape beneath her feet. Mountains cracked. Rivers reversed their flow. Time itself seemed to stutter, uncertain. The council had never faced this. Its computational engines could simulate everything: wars, betrayals, rebellions, extinction events, but not this. Not a human weapon born of memory, vengeance, and patience. One of their largest warships opened fire. A lance of compressed singularity, meant to erase her down to quantum threads, descended toward Earth. She caught it effortlessly between two fingers. It vibrated against her palm like a trapped heartbeat. Then she smiled and let it slip. It collapsed. Its energy tore back on itself, imploding the ship above. Billions across Earth, wherever anyone remained to watch, felt it. A tremor not just in the ground, but in the rules of reality itself. The humans who survived the first strikes whispered in disbelief. They weren't watching some god kill them. They were watching a human, their human, destroy gods. She spoke, and the sound was everywhere at once. Not through air, not through speakers, but through the structure of existence. You came to declare war, she said. I came to finish it. The remaining council ships recoiled, but even retreat was a meaningless gesture. Evelyn had bent space, time, and gravity around herself. Every trajectory, every escape vector, every calculated response the council had prepared crumbled like dust in a hurricane. Then the retaliation began. It was brilliant, terrifying, and utterly human. From underground facilities long forgotten, from satellites once designed for observation, from every corner of Earth where humanity had secretly buried its genius, weapons fired. Not conventional weapons. Not just nukes or lasers, but strange, impossible machines, resonance devices that warped the very physics around alien craft, energy pulses that unraveled matter at the molecular level, analog systems humans had left to decay now resurrected to perfection. Every invention, every half-forgotten blueprint, every desperate act of war preparation the Council had overlooked became a weapon. The Council screamed, not in sound, but in the collapse of its own orderly calculations. Ships tore each other apart trying to evade annihilation. Their precision weapons failed, twisted by forces they could not predict. Strategy grids melted into chaos. For the first time, the invaders felt fear. Not fear as humans knew it, but the alien equivalent, the terror of being wrong. The terror of underestimating humanity. Evelyn descended upon the fleet, moving faster than any human should. She was everywhere at once, tearing hulls, ripping bridges, crushing energy cores with the weight of decades of remembered vengeance. The alien commanders tried to communicate, to surrender, to bargain, but there was no negotiating with 72 years of hate, intelligence, and sheer survival focused into a single weaponized human. She paused above the last remaining Council flagship. Its structure was beautiful, symmetrical, terrifying, and cold. Its architects had thought it would intimidate humanity. They had miscalculated. "Do you remember Theta 7? She whispered. A billion computations tried to answer. They failed. "That was me. I survived. And now I am every human you ever underestimated." She smiled. The flagship imploded, folding in on itself like paper in a child's hands. The Council's communication network fractured, panic cascading through millions of ships and billions of minds. Every signal of dominance, every prediction, every plan of conquest dissolved. Humanity did not just survive, it overwhelmed. In the Nevada desert, the captain watched the aftermath. Cities were in ruins. Entire fleets had vanished. The Council's presence in orbit had been decimated. But the humans left standing felt something deeper than victory. They felt awe. They felt hope. And they felt fear. The captain asked quietly, "Ma'am, what now?" Evelyn looked to the sky. Her body no longer entirely human, her eyes reflecting stars that had never existed in Earth's night sky. "No," she said slowly. "We decide what it means to be humanity." Below them, survivors began to rebuild. Governments would rise again, alliances would shift, but no human would ever forget what had just happened, the day the universe realized it had misjudged the species it called primitive. Above, the Council never returned. Its empire had fractured. Its confidence had shattered. And somewhere deep in the void, its systems recorded one anomaly that could not be erased: humanity was not finished. Humanity would never be finished. Evelyn looked at the captain one last time. "They thought war was a punishment. They were wrong. War is a lesson. And humanity just graduated." She vanished into the upper atmosphere, leaving behind a world trembling, alive, and unbroken. And across the stars, the surviving members of the Council whispered the same phrase, the first true recognition of fear in millions of years. They fight differently. Because humanity didn't just survive annihilation. Humanity changed the rules of the universe itself. And for the first time in recorded galactic history, a human being, and through her, all of humanity, had won everything. End of Part 4.